Hi, my name is Sydney Sekuta with Sekuta Technologies LLC. Today we'll talk about how to use AI to optimize the price and quality of a product using sensory attributes, such as those people obtain from sensory panelists. Again, this is a case study. We're not saying that what we're doing, I'm going to show you now, is the only thing we do. We're just going to use that data as an example, and you need to think about how that can apply to your situation. So this is part two of videos we are creating. Part one, we discussed how to use data, sensory data. You can see here, we have Beacon products, M1 to M12. These are the unit prices, cost per unit, and the attributes being look, smell, taste, salty, smoked, intensity, and texture, 7 attributes. And we wanted to see if the actual price is really optimal, so versus actual price. It turns out some of the bacons were overpriced, some of them were underpriced. And I think one was optimal price. So if you want to see all of that, scan this QR code and see how we did that. And the last thing we did was take these beacons and see how they classify naturally based on the data. And they were broken up in 3 classes. The thinking being that if you want to kind of know where your product stands, we can do that and see which is your club, so to speak. So if your product belongs to that club or class, it makes sense to imitate those prices. But anyway, that's part one. Now we're going to talk about part two. Part two, we'll look at, again, using AI to optimize. This is to maximize the price and quality. Of course, the quality has to be maximized first, then the price can go up as well using sensory attributes. So I want you to look at this very carefully. The most expensive bacon is at 158 and the cheapest is 64. So we want to see how these attributes can be manipulated or changed rather to increase these prices. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. So the objective of this part two is to determine sensory attribute scores needed to maximize the quality and subsequently the price. Okay, so okay, I think we already explained what this table means, so we're going to move on. So I want you to, again, we're talking about maximizing price. So our maximum price is 158. Let's see how things go as we do the manipulation, of these numbers to see what happens. So again, from the part one, I just want to share with you, this is what we found out, that the price driver was look, the appearance, had a higher impact or is collinear, correlated with the price. Okay, and then followed by how salty it was, followed by smell, followed by whether or not the product was smoked, the taste, and then after that, the intensity actually suppressed the price. And of course, the texture here suppressed the price the most. So again, if you want to hear about that study, please scan this video, this QR code, and go see that video. But anyway, so what we're going to do here for part two is we know look works, it's already optimized. It's as high as it can get, maybe not necessarily optimized, but we'll optimize as we go, but the highest. So we'll take look and salty. We just pair them up and see how the price is affected. Look and smell and see how the price is affected all the way to texture. Then after that, we come up with recommendations as to which attributes are critical for increasing the price. And again, remember the 158 I showed you, we're more interested, is there anything we can do to score higher than 158? And by the way, these amounts, the unit price are in SEKs, unit price in SEK. That's the currency they use in Sweden. We got this data from Sweden, from the Swedish Consumer Association. Okay, so we want to see if what can be done with these attributes to beat this price here. So I already went through this. So we did it for, again, salty and look. And this is what they call a response surface of that analysis. Uh, uh, and then we're going to look closely at the 2D plot of it. We see that we can make it all the way to 170 SEK, which is higher than the 158. So that's encouraging only if the salt here is almost 7, let's say 6.9, or the salt, and the look again around 6.9, almost 7. So again, usual we'll say the saltiness or salinity, but there's a translation here because we got this from a non-English speaking country, but we all understand what salt means. And then I just want to make a comment here. People say, wow, the salt is so high. Yes, there may be issues with taking too much salt in terms of health. So if this is the way to go, I would go with like imitation salt or fake salt so that the product is more acceptable. Okay, we'll look again here at look and smell. We're going to go right to the 2D plot. And we see that starting with a look of about 6.1 as it increases, and a smell value of 8. As the look increases, we we can pump up the price to 130. But again, this is below where we were. So this is interesting, but not very interesting because we know that some of those beacons were already at 130. But however, if your beacon is below 130, maybe this is interesting. But if you have the beacon at 158 SEK, this may not be very interesting. Okay, so that's that. So as look increases in better appearance, and and the smell is at 8. In fact, throughout the whole range, the smell is not unique here. Just about any value of smell, it will work. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, but just make sure that your look is over 6.1. And I think for whether it's smoked or not, we're going to look at it. We have kind of like the same story around 6.1. So 6.1 seems like minimal. And then whether it's smoked or not starts around 7. And as you go to the right in this graph, it's going to be at 130. All right, so again, let's look and taste. We will say the same situation, look around 6.7, and the taste at around 7, you can hit 140. And then we look at intensity, around 6 points, a little bit under 6.6. As look, it gets better, the intensity goes up in this corridor here. You have a maximum price. Again, if I have that beacon at 158, I won't be very impressed. I want something higher. So I'm going to kind of focus on that. However, for those with the products under 140, this may be interesting as well. All right, so then the last one is texture. You see that as texture increases, the unit price actually tanks. So, but as texture decreases, it actually gets better. So if this is 160, this contour you see here is 170. So that's about 3.1. So the less texture, the better. And at that value, your look is around 6.9. Okay, so very interesting. So you see that here the texture has to decrease in, so let's say this paper is really hard to tee up, so people may want it a bit softer. Okay. Okay, now we summarize everything we did. We see that the look will work. The higher the look will work for in overall, and however, the smell, the smoke, the taste, intensity, they don't really have that much leverage on the price, but the look, salt, and texture. So in summary, then, if the look is over 6.9, the salt over 6.9, and the texture less than 3.1, you can hit a high price of 170. So if I had that beacon at 158, I'll look at that. In fact, everybody else should look at that. If your beacon was below, even if it was below 158, okay. So that's what we do. And again, my comment about salt is, again, the health effects of salt are not the greatest, so I would use imitation salt. Great. Again, this is a case study of what we can do with your data. So just want to show you, an example. And if this is interesting to you and you want like a book to look at, we have a related book on Amazon you can look at. Okay, so if you want to watch this presentation live, so we can do Q&A, please let us know. Here's our email, aisolutions@segudatechnologies.com. And if you want us to do it for your data, something meaningful to you, so that we can unlock the secrets in your data, let us know when we can do a presentation like this for you. And the study could be free or highly discounted. Find out. Again, email us at aisolutions@segudatechnologies.com. Lastly, please subscribe. We have interesting stuff coming up, so you don't want to miss it. Subscribe as soon as possible so you don't miss out. Thank you so much, and goodbye.